Hey everyone, we're back. New School Sensei. I'm your host, Lance Douglas. We have Shane as well. He's been on many times. We've got a really interesting topic. We're going to be running through all about coaching, teaching adults, specifically teaching them karate. So Shane and your dad, Shane, Bob, back in the day, Bob was part of that I'm going to use a word that I learned just the other day, cadre of
Cool.
early martial artists, so trailblazing martial artists that are kind of thinking about what they're doing and asking why. And I guess
Mm.
that gene, that contrarian gene has been hand passed to you, and you're always looking to innovate, but still keeping the tradition there. So that's going to be interesting to pick apart, because I feel like with a lot of adults, there is a big shift from tradition to something more modern. But then there's
Mm.
also a shift. People are now moving back to tradition. You've seen a lot of
Mm.
people moving, I guess, back to religion. So it's interesting. Run us through, Shane, your approach to teaching adults.
Sure, no worries. Now you're not comparing religion to karate, are you? But yeah,
We'll
yeah,
talk about it,
100%.
mate. There are
Yeah.
parallels,
Oh
100%.
my gosh, there are so many parallels. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, look, I think there is a certainly a shift back to something traditional, especially for adults who are hmm, maybe with young children to older children. So once you've sort of been through your 20s, your early 30s, mid 30s, early 40s, I think there's a shift to something less violent, if you want to use that sort of context. So the ability to go to work the next day after training rather than potentially being hurt at a MMA or a full contact style gym. And there's nothing wrong with that training. I really enjoy that too, but everything has a context. So I think for the moment, or at the moment, there is a shift to something traditional and something less self-defense based and more about self development, and also a different culture. People come to learn karate or karate for a Japanese culture immersion, and maybe something that they've wanted to do for a long time. They trained karate when they were a kid, and now they've had a life, they've got a career, and now they want to keep exploring. So, for example, we are going to Japan and Okinawa next year. So we have about 120 members in my dojo, and I would say 120 of them want to go. They've all put their hand up to go. Definitely, they're not all going to go, but so there is that pull to Japan and Okinawa, and especially in my dojo, we talk a lot about the history of karate, a lot about where karate came from and where it's going, and there is a really big interest in that history side of karate. Um, and I just feel that for adults, there is a something lacking at the moment for them. Um, and when I'm teaching my classes, the focus is on self defense and fitness. They're the two big, self defense and fitness, and also that preserving of traditional karate. Um, I think that's the preservation of traditional karate. And when I'm teaching it, it has a context too. It's not just stepping forward, punch, 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 punch. Everything should have a reason. I don't teach anything. We don't train in it if it doesn't have a purpose. If it doesn't have a purpose that links back to self-defense or fitness or preserving traditional karate.
Yeah, awesome. And just going back to, mentioning a lot of people want the self-defense. They want, maybe MMA, BJJ. They want to be whatever they're doing as being seen as being productive.
Mm.
And I know that was kind of my feeling in my 20s and 30s. But I guess a lot of adults, when they get to their 40s and 50s, like, especially even Australia, you live in, sunny Queensland like yourself. Um, and you move from just wanting to be 100% productive to
Mm.
developing your own inner values and
Yep.
virtues. And traditional martial arts is a great vehicle for that.
Yeah. Traditional martial arts you can do for life. My plan is to die on the mats training. I mean, not tomorrow, but in like 40 years,
Yeah.
right? Um, so that would be my goal because for something like a Muay Thai, boxing, something that's heavy combat, the longevity is short, whereas something like a karate can be a very long life. You can have a very long life, and your emphasis can change as you get older and older and older. So when people first come, maybe they want that self-defense, and in their 20s, in their 30s, they want to test themselves. Look, I train BJJ too, and so things like BJJ and Muay Thai. I'll just keep going back to Muay Thai, but other sort of combat systems. Yeah, man, they are great for self-defense and great for getting fit and strong. But the longevity of it, I'm not sure, because there's not once you've stopped doing a competition, once you stop competing, the only really thing left is teaching, and not everybody wants to be a teacher. And people can just turn up and roll, for sure. But I don't know if your body can sustain that with something like karate, because it's not for us anyway. We don't do full contact kumite, full contact sparring. There is a definitely an advantage of full contact, but you cannot do that for a long time. And the sparring has to be controlled, because otherwise you're going to run out of partners, and you're just going to get hurt and injured, and then you're not wanting not you won't want to turn up and train. But if you go to a place like Okinawa, there are people in their 70s and 80s that just turn up, bow in, train for 15, 20 minutes, have a bit of a talk, maybe do some kobudo, hit the bag, and then potter off. So that is a lifetime. So you don't have to be training 4 or 5 times a week. You can be training once or twice a week, once a fortnight, and all you're doing is just keeping involved in that community. So a place like Okinawa has the very long lifespan. It's a blue zone, and part of that reason is older people have a community and have a reason to keep going back, whether it's karate or they're doing gardening or knitting or whatever it is, right? So the karate is just that vehicle. So you can have a long time training, and it doesn't have to be hard on the body.
Yeah, and with karate, well, any type of traditional martial art, it's almost like the opposite of today's fast-paced world. Like,
Yep.
today it's all about individualism. We've got social media. We're trying to build up our profile, get followers, showcase what we have,
Mm.
all that type of thing. Whereas martial arts, like typically you'll start with a bit of meditation, and then it's all about just working through different postures, different movements, being present with yourself and with the group. And that's, yeah, a lot of people are moving back to that because it's giving them a little bit of respite from
Yep.
maybe they've got a busy job. Maybe they've got a couple of kids.
Yep.
Maybe they got, they're on the tools. Maybe, their marriage is hard work as well. But then once they get onto the mat, they can embrace the Japanese culture. They can, I don't want to say, find Zen, but they can find something
Yep.
when they're
Well,
not distracted.
yeah, with my instructors, I was telling them that try to make the dojo the third place. So there's the first place is your home, and second place is your work or school, and the third place, we're trying to make it into the dojo. So the dojo is the third place. The third place was where you feel the most comfortable, right? It's like your home. So that's what we tried to create, um, with a community, kids as well for sure, but for adults. So when I'm with my adult classes, y- um, uh, everything is based around a community. So, for example, one of the grading for when we do a grading for our adult grading, it's a separate grading. It goes for 3 hours, and everybody, all the adults, can come and do it. So it's like a really big class. Like it's a very long class, and we go from white belt to brown to shodan to black belt. And we cover everything in the syllabus, or pretty much everything in the syllabus. So those who are doing the grading come forward and do their own thing, but and then they go back with everybody else. So after that, we have drinks and snacks. So I provide drinks and snacks after. So it can be 3.5 hours long, but people come to support the other people in their class. So they're not specifically coming for their own training, but they get to help other people, and they're a partner or an uke for the people that are in the class. So it's a really good vibe, and we'll have sometimes 40, 50 people for this big grading on a Saturday afternoon from 1 till 4 or 2 till 5, and then our social aspect after is a couple of drinks and some snacks. So we don't do a lot of social stuff outside the dojo because, as you said, they've got they're married with kids, and they got to take their kids to soccer and footy, but in that time they get to be their own person. Then they don't have to think about what mum's doing at home, or sorry, your wife is doing at home, or what your husband's making for dinner. It's just you and the mats.
100%. Let's run through, because Ken's not here, and Ken always wants to get into the brass tacks. He wants to get into like structurally how does it work. So you had a seminar that you ran for the traditional martial arts association. So let me see if I can get the acronym right. Is it ATFK?
AFTK.
AFTK. I always get it mixed up. So
That's cool, man.
AFTK.
Yeah, it's the Australasian Federation of Traditional Karate and Kobudo.
There you go. And we're also now part of that, so that's pretty
Yep.
exciting. Run us through, you ran the seminar on how to teach adults. So give us just a quick Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, cool. So it was a 45-minute session, so a very bite-sized session, and it was for dojo owners. So those who are either owning a dojo or teachers. So we had about maybe 20 people there, and I wrote out everything that not everything, but how I've attracted members, how I've made more money out of those members, and how I've kept those members. So whenever in a business, you're looking at those three things, right? How to get more members, how to get them to pay, and how to keep them longer. So I broke up into three little bite size, and I gave everybody a couple of examples of things that I have done. So, for example, getting more members. So I target. Oh, that sounds awful, but not target, but I talk to the kids' parents, and I give them offers every now and again. And I gave everybody an email campaign how I attract the kids' parents, because once I get the parent involved in the class, the kids stay longer, and there's more. They see the more value in the class. So to do that, I have I have two separate syllabus, one separate syllabus for the kids and one for the adults. So all of the stuff, all of the really cool self-defense stuff, elbows, headbutts, fingers, takedowns, throws, joint locks, all of that stuff is in the adult class, and all of the kids karate is in the kids karate syllabus. So there's a very clear difference in what I'm teaching the kids and what I'm teaching the adults. So I don't allow adults, I don't allow parents to train in the kids class, because I want the parents to realize that what they're doing is old karate, and what the kids are doing is new modern karate. Sorry. So I want them to see that differentiation, and I want them to see the value in my dojo and how much I love karate. And I don't just turn up and teach and walk and go home. I am all in. Like everything is for me is about karate, and I am like 100% in, right? So I want the parents to see that. So I gave the dojo owners a couple of emails on how to attract the parents, and then we worked on how to make more money out of the members. Really, is basically what we're trying to do. because once you have more money, you can attract more people. So if you've got money for advertising, then you can get more adults. And I'm trying to explain to that it doesn't matter if you've got a part-time dojo or a full-time dojo. We all need more adults, because if you have more adults, they generally stay longer and pay more money. So how to for them, how to make more money out of that member, is, well, for me, I charge the kids a lower fee than I charge the adults. So the kids are, let's say, 39 a week, and the adults are 49 a week. So I make that clear to the members that adults pay more because I give more. So the classes are longer. Actually, we offer more classes for adults, so there's more choice. And I want them to see what I'm teaching to the adults is valued more than the kids. So so that's one way that to make a little bit more money. Um, and things like I run more seminars for the adults. I bring in outside instructors for the adults, and you can charge a little bit of money for that as well. I'm not talking, sheep stations, but I'm not making millions of dollars, but it adds a little bit more, and then you can attract more. Right. So, and the last one is retention tools. So, like my grading, my big grading, I put in how I run it, and I have a run sheet as well. So every grading is the same. Bang, 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 bang. Not anybody, but I mean, one of my high grade instructors can come in, read the run sheet, and run the whole grading. So that was included in that booklet. Um, Things like a gashuku, a training camp. So we have a training camp every year. So that's a retention tool because I plan it 6 months in advance, right? And I advertise it for 6 months, and people are excited for 6 months, and then boom. So that's just another retention tool. And like our trip to Japan and Okinawa. So that is September next year, and I've already started talking to people about it. And do you know who is running it? Craig.
Uh, who's running it?
Craig Catani. He was on your
Hey,
podcast a couple
yep,
of times. So he's great. He's organising it, and
nice.
um, so that way I just sit back and let my members stew in that. Oh, what? Can't wait to go! Can't wait to go! So just like little retention tools like that are based around adult retention rather than kids. So there's no Halloween parties or birthday parties or stuff like that. It's just different tools for different jobs.
Yep. Why do you reckon a lot of martial art coaches there, it is a little bit taboo to talk about the money side?
Oh, well, yeah, I have no problem with making money in karate, for sure, because has been my family business for, almost 40 years. But um, if you are delivering a service or a product, then you should be paid. Um, we have spent many monies, lots of dollars, lots of money on making ourselves better at coaching, better at the martial art, better at business, better at, everything, right? So we should charge for it. I think the taboo is when instructors think that it's very much like a religion, man. It's okay. Let's say it's very much like a religion, but a lot of religions you have to give a tithe, right? You have to, a lot of religions want you to donate, but it's a kind of like that taboo subject too. Um, if you, look, it depends on what dojo or gym that you're wanting. If you want a little PCYC gym, yeah, you charge $5-10, and that's all the class is worth. But if you have a full-time facility, 2 floors, and you've got 30 classes a week with 5 instructors, and you have to cover your rent. You've got to pay the instructors. So yes, the fees are going to be high, but the service is more. more choice. Instead of Monday and Thursday class, you have Monday to Saturday, and the dojo will always be open. You don't have to turn up to a Thursday and say, "Oh, we can't train because the local basketball team is in here today," stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I think a lot of people, a lot of instructors get that holier than thou. There we go. There's religion again. Idea that martial arts should be free. Martial arts should be free, and yeah, I understand that point, but people. Yeah. Anyway, uh, it can be a touchy subject, and if you want 50 members, fantastic. If you have a really great job, if you have a fantastic high paying job, then you don't need the income, right? But if you don't have a high paying job like myself, then I need to pay a mortgage. I need to pay for my son's school. And I do that because I do a full time dojo because I love karate. And instead of spending 2 hours a week on karate, I am like 20 hours a day,
All
4
in.
hours sleep, right? Like I am fully from when I wake up to when I go to bed, everything is around karate. I
Yeah.
mean, look, that's an exaggeration, but when you have your own business, everything is based around that. My holidays, so next year I'm going to Okinawa and Japan twice for karate. So everything, all of my stuff is based around. I'm going to Canberra next week for the Australian Masters Games, taking my son with me, so that's a little bit of a holiday, um, and based around that. So Um, I charge more because I put in more. I give more.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally resonate with everything you've said. A lot of coaches, if they do still feel a little bit, they feel a bit awkward about, making money from martial arts. I think a couple of
Mm,
things I would say to them is we've already opted into that system. Like we're a capitalistic society, so the market will dictate the services that are within the society.
mm,
And the good thing about the market dictating the services that are provided is, only the most efficient, the most competitive. I don't want to say the best, but the ones that have provide a lot of value. They're the ones that are going to survive. And
yep,
so that's just society we're in. We're in a capitalistic society.
yep,
And then the other thing, a lot of coaches they want to have that feeling where they're going to coach. Not they don't want to use someone just for money. They want to
mm,
coach because they love coaching. Yeah.
yeah,
And I still think you can still coach without using someone for money. A good example would be we just had in John Will. Like
mm,
he's financially free and he still coaches 3 times a week and he doesn't take an income from it, doesn't take a salary from it. So you want to be like a John Will. You want to build yourself up financially. Then when you're, down the track in your 50s and 60s, you can choose to coach without having to take any income from it. But you can't do that unless you've built the foundation.
yeah,
So yeah, I got a lot of insight from John Will about
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like the sometimes, like on the opposite side, when you are 18 hours in your business, you can burn yourself out 100 million%, right? And then you you don't want to live that life. And I fully get it. I have been there. I did that when I was 25 to about 30. Burned myself out because I did everything. I did all the classes. I did all the, wore every hat. Now I've realized that can't be. You can't function like that. So I don't take. I At the moment I'm taking a lot of classes because one of my instructors is off. Um, but what I'm trying to build at the moment is, yeah, me being looking over, um, and yeah, when I'm in my 50s or 60s, if I have the opportunity not to take an income and just teach, yeah, for sure, man, that is where I'd love to be, or I want to build a bigger business, have multiple locations. So I have the ability to go and teach the instructors, coach the coaches. That's where I'd love to be.
Yeah, definitely. Let's change lanes a little bit. So, or maybe we won't. We'll get this will kind of steer us back to that religion.
Oh yeah.
So when we're coaching adults, there's a lot of different ways we can do it. You can take the path of, you give them a lot of autonomy, a lot of agency, let
Mm,
them do pretty much whatever they want, which would be, I imagine, say in a jiu-jitsu class, like, maybe we run through a couple of little techniques and then free rolling. I say to the guys, look, we're in a free country. Do whatever you want when you roll. Just don't hurt each other. Slap hands,
yep.
fist bump, go for gold. Then you'd have the other train of thought where the coach, they're not necessarily at the top, but it's kind of like a student told me in their job, their job is to write. And one of their seminars, the seminar was called Shut Up and Write.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
So there are coaches where they tell you to do something and you just zip your mouth and then you get the job done. And I've been part of both styles. Like
Mm,
I've had coaches where they give you a lot of freedom. And I actually find especially if I respect the coach, like I actually prefer when a coach tells me something and then I don't have to worry about nothing else and I just look to execute.
100%. Yeah. And as you said before, people come maybe not to think, just to train. So there is that shut up and train. Like I think you should be able to do both. I think at times, like leading up to a grading or a competition or an event or a seminar or something like that, yes, shut your face and just do the training. Like you have to put in, you've got to put in. You've got to put the techniques into your legs, for example, right? But there are other times, a good instructor should be able to look at the room and judge. If people are sort of like a bit tired and a bit jaded, then okay, let's let's go into groups, and you guys, you're going to work on this, you can work on that. In 20 minutes, you've got to do a demonstration and show everybody um, uh, something. Oh, cool. So that way they get their own training, and they're thinking differently, and all of a sudden they're not tired. But when they're leading up to something, yeah, just uh, train, train, and people, yeah, as you said, respect that. No thinking, I just want to sweat. I just want to sweat.
As a coach, the way I think of it, sometimes like we'll run a class and then I'll go home and I'll think about how that student can get better. Like I'll get my little notebook out, I'll type in, okay, he needs to work on bang, 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 bang. And then, maybe next year we'll work on bang, 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 bang. So then when I go to the next class, I'll give that feedback. But if the student doesn't take it on board,
Mm,
it can be a little bit disheartening. Of course, like the students well within their rights to keep you accountable, to ask questions, which is fine. But I feel like the students that trust you and then can just take the feedback
mm,
and just get on board. It's almost like, I don't want to use another religious term, but it's almost like surrendering to the
yep,
process.
yep,
You would see it a lot, especially, you've done competitions. Like sometimes, for you to win this match, you just need to do this one thing.
yes,
And the guys who do it, they'll win. The guys who think, oh, I
yes,
don't know, coach, are you sure? So it is that kind of
100%.
act of surrender. Like, well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. For the competition analogy, definitely. If I say, go out there, when he steps off the line, hit him with your left hand. Right. It's how much trust you have in your instructor, and like I will yell out, change legs, only fight toe to toe, because they are looking at it from a different perspective than the person in the middle. That's why everybody has a coach. Even like Roger Federer. I mean, he's retired now, but somebody as skilled as Novak Djokovic has a coach because they're looking at it from a different perspective. Um, and when you are trying to So because it's an adult, you have to approach it as an adult. You cannot walk up to an adult and say, "I told you, put your left leg, bend that front knee, it's elbow with your left." So you have to approach it as you would want to be spoken to. So, well, for example, last night in our class, one person is doing their kata and the other person is watching. And then the person watching has to give one thing they're doing very well and one thing that needs to be worked on, right? And like when I was saying it, you frame it around one thing that is shit house. No, no, you can't say that. One thing that is absolutely atrocious. No, no, don't say it like that. Say something like, I think it would be better if you kept your fingers together in this part of the technique. So everybody was on board, right? So it's how you frame it at the start.
I'm gonna
So
take
that
that little spiel. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's like, "Oh,
I'm
that's
taking that.
awful." No, no, how would you say it nicer? So you say that, like, so everybody knows what's going to come. Yeah, so I think as long as you treat them as an adult, and sometimes you have to be stern. For gradings, I don't I'm not going to if I'm going to fail somebody at an adult grading, I will pull them aside, which I did a couple of months ago, and say, "Hey, look, Johnny, um, unfortunately, you haven't passed today. However, this is what you need to look at. Let's re-look at it in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or next year." Um, so you can either stay and bow it with everybody and watch everybody get their belts and certificates, or you can quietly exit. What do you want to do? And I'll give them a choice. Um, and then that way they're not embarrassed, but everybody knows. There's 20 people there and 19 people get their belt and certificate and one doesn't. So, but you're not drawing attention to that person. You're showing them a bit of respect, and also at the same time, you're putting a bit of fear into the other people. Like, shit, that could be me. Oh man, you know. So there's still respect there because it's still an adult. It's not a 10-year-old. It's an adult member, and an adult person with feelings and the ability to leave you a Google review. No, no, I'm just kidding.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, kind of lost my train of thought after you. That's a good joke. I like that.
Yeah, but like going back to with the adults and how to treat the adult.
Hmm.
Um, I when my dad first started karate back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, it was barking orders like a military, and that's how everybody was taught. Is when karate went from Okinawa to Japan in the 1920s, it was taught at universities to university students, and it was a military time. Everybody in Japan, it was all based around military training, and that sort of training, the no thinking, just train up and down the floor. That sort of style of training evolved into the 60s and 70s and 80s, and that's what was brought to Australia and America and England, and that was a type of training. And people are still teaching like that, and they wonder why they only have 4 students, right? 4 adults, because not everybody likes to be barked at. There's got to be context. It's got to be a reason. It's got to be a place. Yes, sometimes let's get into it. Like no mucking around. Let's go at it. But it can't be all the time. It can't be all the time. There's got to be downtime. There's got to be some talk. There's got to be some play. And like a jiu-jitsu is great because when you're rolling with your partner, you can go as hard or as soft as you want, and like you can be tired and just working with your partner, and you feed off that energy from your partner. If your partner wants to go hard, then you can go hard too. If your partner wants to go soft, you're like, oh, finally, man, I get a break as well, right? But with karate, because it's so much solo training, um, so with my adult classes, I do a lot of partner training. Like I'd say 90% of the training is partner training. That way, so that breeds fun and relationships in the class as well. And also that's way more interesting to do than, walking up. We hardly ever move up and down the dojo doing solo techniques. If we're doing kata, then we do partner drills for kata, and then we break the kata down, and then we do the solo part, and I make it relevant to what we did. Or we do the solo part, and then we do a partner drill. So it's like a full circle. The person can see why I do this technique. And then, we break it up that way. Then everything starts and ends up back at the same place. But it's got to be interesting. I can't do that with the kids, because the kids will get bored. Kids, 5-10 minutes got to change. That it's got to be. But for the adults, you could do a full 3-hour seminar on one section of a kata and make it interesting for them. And then they'd be like, "Wow, that's awesome." And then other times you teach this amazing class that would Anko Itosu, Gichin Funakoshi, Choki Motobi would be proud that you taught it. And people would walk off and like, "Yeah, it's good." And then you do a class, you just smash them on Kion, bang, 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 hitting bags, like, and then they walk off like sweating. "Oh, that was amazing." And you're like, "Dude, what?" So you've got to have a bit of both. You got to have a bit of both.
Yeah, always. Couple of other things just to quickly wrap up before we get out of here. So, what's your view on cultivating like not life skills, but like just virtue development with the adults? Because I know with most people we run kids classes, we got Matt chats, we're talking
Yeah.
life skills, and then when you look at the more well-renowned coaches, like say in Victoria we got Nino Stamo from Australian League team, John Will, probably your dad, he'd be doing it. Like when they run a class, like when I do a class of Ninos, it's not just for jiu-jitsu. Like I'm there for the life advice too. Like he's dropping gems.
Yeah, yep.
And I think just because where I'm at with my life, like I'm well receptive to it. So what
I
are your
think
views on that?
Yeah, man, I think it's less about the karate and life experience. Like it's less karate experience and life experience. And man, I'm only 44, and 44 for a 20-year-old is old as. But for another 40-year-old, it's not the same, right? So yeah, how old is your coach?
Ninos, he'd probably be early 40s, but he's had a hell of a life.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just a dude from Brizzy, man. So, but I mean, like I will give. It's all context. So I will. Well, for example, I was a couple of months ago. Somebody was when I'm driving. Somebody. I accidentally cut somebody off. We merged into from. Actually, really wasn't my fault, but we went from 2 lanes into 1 lane, and I was in front, and so I just moved in, right? And this guy did not like it. Beeped like a maniac. And but I stayed calm, and I just kept driving, didn't react, just kept driving, and then there was a car. So that 1 lane became 2 lanes again, but there was a car on the right. So I looked at it because I was in front, and if I went to the left lane, that would indicate to that guy that all I'm trying to do is cut, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let him go in front. So I went in behind the other car, knowing that he's going to go up to the front and then pull in front of both of us, and he would be the hero. Happy to do that. What do I give a shit? So I went in behind the car behind me. This guy, though, he pulled right up next to me, put his window down, and just started yelling. But I didn't react. I just grabbed my hands on the wheel and looked straight ahead. Didn't do anything. Didn't react to him, right? So then the light turned green, but this guy's still yelling at me, and the car in front moved. So did I. So I went forward, and he's gone and tried to get in front of me, but there was no room, so he had to come in behind me. And he was like, just absolutely going on the horn. And then he sped up around me. He went into the other lane in front of me, and then jammed the brakes on. And he's sitting there, and I didn't react, didn't beep, didn't do anything. Just patiently waited for about a minute. See, because he's waiting for me to react. Right? The same in competition. If you're doing competition, you do the opposite of what your opponent wants you to do. So if they're sitting in the corner, then you don't follow them. You go to the opposite corner. You make them come out, right? So I did exactly the opposite of what he wanted. I waited in my car, very patient, very chill, as the young people say, very chill. Didn't do anything because I knew if I got out, that would escalate the situation. And if I hit him, I might get a jail. If he hits me, I might die and never see my son again. So every decision I am making here is to make sure that I see my son again. So we waited, and finally he took off, and then he turned right, and I drove off. Right. So I was telling that story and how it can relate to self-defense, because the decision that I made not to engage in that guy saved my life, saved his life. I mean, these are the extremes. Nothing. It could nothing. I don't know if he's got a baseball bat, or what if he's a better fighter than me? What if he's been training longer? What if he does Muay Thai? What if he's a blue belt in BJ and I'm still a
It's
shitty
part of the New
white
South
belt?
Wales karate team, yeah?
No, you mean Victorian karate team? If he's New South Wales karate team, I'm taking him. So, but if he's I don't know anything about him. So that saved me. And the funny thing is, I see him almost every day when I take my son to school, because he's got a specific car with a specific number plate, whereas my car is just an average grey Kluger. Right? There's millions of them, bro, but his car is a very specific one. So I've told the story a couple of times to the adult classes, and it is about self-defense, like not engaging, elbows in, hands out in front, like, and open hands, not closed fists. Closed fists is aggressive. Open hands, and it's optics. If somebody's filming, you got your hands open, and you're apologizing, but still, if you come into my space, it's on. But I'm not the one that's going to come into your space. So yeah, I mean, like, that's a little story, but I do talk about that a little bit. But apart from that, the life lessons, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, there's still adults, young people, younger 20s, 30s. Yeah, I'll try and help them. But I mean, there's people I've got 70-year-olds that train with me. I'm asking them for the life advice, right? But as far as karate advice, yes, for sure. The 70-year-old asks me questions about karate. So that I can certainly help with. But life advice, Shane, should I get married? No. I mean, yeah, those sorts of things, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's great. Great way to wrap it up. And yeah, so we've got a lot out from that. Guys, if you're enjoying it, make sure you hit up Shane. Shane, you started up, you tell me the school group. So explain that.
School, yeah. SKOOL. So it started with Alex Hermosi, the guy from Gym Launch. It's a community group. It's called Grow Your Adult Karate Base. So it is a community of traditional karate owners who are sharing ideas on drills, how to create a syllabus, timetables, marketing, all of those sorts of things on how to get more adults, how to keep them longer, basically. Because I want more adults to do karate. What we see in the media is kids karate. I don't want people to confuse real karate with kids karate, and that's what I'm trying to do with the adults. So
Yeah,
it's
good
a
on you.
school.
Yeah. So guys, if you want any more tips, find Shane on that platform. And if you got a lot out of this podcast, give us a message on Instagram, and we'll see you all in the next one. Oos.
Awesome.